What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of These Corona Times. Tonight, you are tuned in to a very special episode with just me, Tiffany, and my co-host and friend, Dr. Bruce.
It's just us. No branding.
Right. It's just us tonight. Tonight's episode is called These Corona Times Ladies Night Edition, and I'm really excited about it. What about you, Simone?
Yes, I am so excited. I am. Sorry, Brandon. No shade, but I've been anticipating this one. I'm ready.
Yep. And we were telling Brandon that we had we've been talking throughout the week on the polo just about the episode or whatever, and we were just remarking about how much fun we had in our production meeting, and I think Brandon
he was feeling some type of way.
Yes. But before we jump in, we got to do our little housekeeping. So we just want to thank you all so much again for watching, for sharing, for commenting, for liking and subscribing. We are 2-3 weeks strong on our new Facebook page. So we appreciate you all liking it, commenting, watching with us on Mondays. We are sorry last week's episode came out a day late, but we appreciate you guys showing up for the watch party. So we try to get these out Monday evening, but sometimes, things happen in these Corona times.
Life happens.
Yep.
Life is happening. Yep.
And things back.
So the reason our friend Brandon is not here is because it's his daughter Ava's 7th birthday. So happy birthday to Ava. I think we're going to have some pictures of her. And so before we get started, like always, we have to talk about our self-care. I don't even remember what Brandon was supposed to do. What was he supposed to do?
I'm not going to talk about it because he's not here, so.
I don't even know. Okay, well, fine. Well, I was supposed to do vacation things. We did a thing, and we came home early.
Yeah.
From our vacation. We came home early, so that was self-care for us. Because, when you move away, and this is our first time ever obviously moving away, we didn't realize how much we would miss being in our own space. And so we left a few days early, but Caden got in all the time with his grandparents. He was supposed to get in, and we got to see our friends. So it was great. And tomorrow marks day one of my position as a postdoctoral fellow at the University of North Carolina. So, I don't know what that means for self-care. I don't know if I'll be able to do any more self-care.
No.
For the rest of the school year.
I'm not sure if you will. It's about to be because I'm sure the students coming back about to have a whole lot of things they want to talk to you about.
I know. There's a lot. So, Tiffany, how did you do with your self-care this week?
Before I say my self-care, I just want to say that I'm super excited about you starting your new position.
Yes.
And I hope that this means that we are on the last year of our 2-year agreement of you not being here in Louisville, Kentucky. I hope that's what this means.
I didn't sign any agreement. It was not
verbal. It was not.
It was assumed.
Yes, it was assumed. It was assumed.
The best part of the trip was hanging out with y'all. I got to see Brandon and Tiffany more than I did other friends. And of course, that's just natural because I'm super close to y'all. So the best part of the trip, besides being with family, was seeing you two and all of our friends. So we just got to get back there as often as possible. So that's what we're going to do. But the moving back, I don't know if you can do that.
Okay, I'm going to just table that for another point in time. So I thought I could get to it in public in front of other people, but we'll talk about it another time. So for my self-care this week, I had said that I was going to try to avoid the rabbit holes of Facebook. And for those of you who don't know what the rabbit holes are, for me, these are articles where news stations or magazines or whatever are sharing articles about what's going on now, particularly a lot of the race-based issues. And people who are not smart are making very mean and ignorant comments. And a lot of times I feel so moved to just respond or to reply or to correct them. But as I said before, that kind of had just led me down a little rabbit hole of where there's another one and then there's another one. And then when do you stop trying to educate people? So I've actually not done that this week. I've actually been off social media a lot this week. I think that was due in part to I babysat my nephew this week, and that really took up my time. So I wasn't really on social media as much as usual. But when I did have some time, usually at night when he'd gone to sleep, I did scroll through my feeds a little bit, but I saw a couple articles and I just didn't reply. I just went ahead, and I was really tempted yesterday to just be like, you know what? Let me just.
It's tempting.
Yeah.
It's tempting.
Yeah, but I was just like, no, I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah.
I feel better for it. Because at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I'm not sure if my one interaction with that person is gonna change their mindset. And some people just want to argue and just want to find things to disagree on. So I found that I was much happier this week by not giving into that. Yep. So
that is so smart, and I see so many people. What'd you say?
No, go ahead.
I was saying I see so many people that go back and forth with folks, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's some people who can do that, and that's fine. And it just takes a lot out of you.
It does.
It takes a lot.
Yeah, because you find yourself arguing with somebody who is being really derogatory, and then if you yourself become derogatory, it's like you've proved their point. So you really have to be able to take the high road in some of the conversations, and they can be kind of hard when people are just being ignorant. So, yeah, gotta protect yourself from the ignorance. So
yes, for sure.
Yeah. So I think it's time for us to kind of. I'm so used to Brandon doing this part that
I know.
We're gonna orient you to the episode. That's my new. We're gonna orient you to the episode. So, yes. So again, one of Simone's bright ideas, because she's the idea person in this group, to have like this kind of ladies' night takeover. We kind of fluctuated between, well, Brandon won't be here. Should we do another watch party, or should we do our own episode? And we kind of had this idea to do this kind of ladies' night takeover. As you can see, we are dressed up. We have not had a chance to dress up in a while.
I actually fit this. I got in it, like, no problem. And I'm not sure how. This guy working. He was working. He was like, let me just go ahead and cinch the waist so you can get in it.
Yes. So we're dressed up. We've invited a couple of our girlfriends to come and talk to us. And, of course, we like to keep our show educational and fun. So it's going to be a lighthearted conversation, of course, but we're going to try to talk on just some of the things that we as Black women struggle with. The myth of the strong Black woman. What does Black girl magic really mean? How do we feel about some of the I was gonna say the recent current events, but I was gonna say the WAP video. So that might come up in discussion. But then additionally, just other like our success stories as Black women, and we oftentimes don't do a lot of lifting each other up. And I don't think that's on purpose. I think it's just we're so busy sometimes we don't get to stop and kind of just celebrate each other. So we're going to do a little bit of humble bragging at the end of this as well, just some of the good things that we're doing. But we are so happy to do this episode, y'all. And just to be fair, I'm sure there will be a boys' night out, a guys' takeover, because we're going to have to give something for agreeing to let us do this. So y'all look out for that. If y'all are complaining about where's the guys' night out Corona times, it's gonna come. Y'all press Brandon for when he can bring y'all an episode, but that's gonna happen as well.
Yes.
So Simone,
yes, I'm gonna add, I think that this conversation, just doing this is a form of self-care. I've been doing a lot of different interviews lately on racial trauma and stress, and one of the things I always talk about is coping, and one of those ways to cope is to talk with and connect with your support system. For me, and I'm sure Tiffany would agree, my support system largely comes from my church family, and these ladies are part of our extended church family, and so to be able to connect with them, with like-minded folks that we share identity with, is healing for me. So I'm so excited to be with them in just a few minutes.
Yep. So if y'all just hang with us and, hold on tight, might get a little spicy. But we'll be right back with our special guest for the evening. Okay, we are back. And as you can see, our boxes have turned from 2 to 4. Simone, would you like to introduce our guest for the evening?
Yes. We have Kalifa Alexander, who is in Atlanta, Georgia. She is a research and administrative she is in research and administration and works as a research analyst. And we have Gabrielle Goode, or Gigi, as we like to call her. And she is a family nurse practitioner. And, you know, that's what they do. You know, and Gigi's in Louisville, Kentucky. They're not really here in a professional capacity. We're just here to talk girl talk. So thank you all so much for being here.
Yes,
we always ask first and foremost, how are y'all doing with all the mess going on with COVID and just racial unrest? How y'all doing?
I'm ready to be outside. y'all know, I mean, because I lived in Louisville for 4 years, so y'all know, like, I'm used to traveling back to back, so this is painful for me. This is very painful. Yeah. So I'm just ready to be outside, but I also understand I gotta stay safe, so I won't be jet setting anytime soon, child. It's all right. But I'm surviving. I'm grateful. I've lacked for nothing, so I'm honestly blessed. Like, honestly, I just miss outside. That's all.
Yeah. You are very much a people person. I know you need to be amongst the people.
Just a couple folk. Nothing major.
How about Gigi? How you doing?
I'm managing as well. I definitely miss doing things with my friends on the weekends. Just going to work and coming home and to sleep is not the move, like continuously it's nerve-wracking, but hopefully they'll fix this soon. Get back out there.
Right. Just a little something. That's all we ask, just a little something. Maskless.
Yes. But I remember when, before COVID hit, there was a time when it was like, I just want to go to sleep. I just want to be able to sleep in on a Sunday or something. You know, I'm not trying to work every day, but this has been a different thing. And it's been like a continuous cycle of go to work, come home, go to sleep, go to work, go home, go to sleep, with not many other places to go. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. And it was real. What'd you say, Gigi?
Going to the park all the time.
Right. Yeah. And it's the same park and the same trail. And I'm like, listen, I can't do this park no more.
I can't tell you how many times I walk the Atlanta Beltline. I can't tell you how many times I'm outside like, woo, we walk in my neighborhood. Like, I ain't seen everything in my neighborhood already because I've been living here. Like, I'm over it. And I want to go out without a mask, but I understand that that's just not possible. And it probably will never be possible, honestly, because just the way things are going. I don't see this letting up very soon. I'm trying to be hopeful, but realistically.
Hey, if people keep not doing what they're supposed to do, we're probably going for a while. And Gigi probably knows that more than any of us because she's in healthcare. But you know, we're both in places, you know, Atlanta, Louisville. We're in places where our numbers are not great.
My numbers are definitely horrible, the worst.
Yeah,
I was hearing about y'all, the students, and I don't know what they're doing there in Atlanta. Hope they.
Because they're allowing the school systems to do their own thing in regards to like, hey, if you guys want to go in person, you can. If you want to do virtual, you can. And like me, I live in DeKalb County. So DeKalb is like, oh, y'all wish the children staying at home. These other counties that have, you know, a lot more of, you know, the whites. The whites are willing to risk their lives.
Yeah.
We're already handling 2 pandemics at once. Our school system is not. Yeah. Okay? It's like, everybody stay at home. But like Gwinnett, and then there was a girl, I think she just got her suspension lifted because she posted a photo of how the crowded schoolway was. Yep. Like,
I was like, go ahead and post it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, y'all made
a video, actually. Let me see.
Made a decision to send them in. Stand by it. Right. Let them post it.
Yeah. But as you can see, it's problematic, so don't listen to her.
But you made it.
I'm like, go ahead, post the video.
Let me see.
Gigi, we're not like them. They're problematic.
Let me see the whole thing.
But Kalifa, you made a good point though about like we were talking about, you know, we know that I think as I see it, COVID just kind of highlighted some of the disparities that we already knew were there. And we know that COVID is impacting Black and brown communities more. So the decision, you know, by officials or whoever to just, you know, send them back out there, you know, I feel like they know, who's most affected, and we are as Black people we're not catered to. We're not, our health and our well-being is at the bottom of the totem pole.
They don't care. I mean, the governor of my state sued the mayor of the city. Like, that's like just, that literally shows you, like, I mean, yeah, things may have been rescinded now and they've like, you know, put things on pause and retracted some things or whatever now, or whatever they're saying. But still, like, he sued the mayor with intent to be like, you made mask mandates and I didn't like that. It's basically what it boiled down to. I hated the fact that you and the rest of your council members that are also Black decided to go for it and do this mask mandate. And y'all was going against what I was saying up there, talking about let's open my state up. No, they don't. They don't care. They don't care about our lives at all. Like, even testing wise, like the CDC is here, like it's headquartered here. Yeah. There's so much that they could have tried to push. Like, as the governor of the state, you could have tried to advocate a lot more for the CDC to do more in where it's headquartered, so that our state would have been pioneering and, hey, this is the protocol of how you handle a pandemic. And he didn't even want to do that. So it's very telling because similar to you all, I'm living in a blue city, but a red state. So y'all know how that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not fun at all. So folks talking about November election, let's make a change. And I'm like, okay.
That's all right.
Okay. This blue city been voting for who they need to vote for this whole time. It's the whole red state that's the problem.
Right.
My goodness. Well, ladies, I'm so glad you all are here this evening. We have a lot of things that, of course, we want to try to talk about. But, you know, we're not going to, as Simone says, we'll always be respectful of the time. So we won't be trying to hold for a long, long time, but want to get into some of these things. I know for Simone and I, a couple months ago, we were talking about the myth of the strong Black woman. Are you all familiar with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, how we are strong, we're invincible, we can take on anything. I have not felt like a strong Black woman this past.
I want to be weak.
Yeah, can I just be weak for a minute? Like, so let's talk about that like a little bit. Like, do you all ever feel like you're kind of a victim of that complex? Like, you're expected to just be strong, continue to heap things on yourselves? And how's that impacting you? How does that make you feel? Do you have, I'm asking you a lot of questions, so answer them as you want to. Do you ever feel like you have trouble asking for help? Yeah. Wherever. Gigi's like she got a thought. What you gonna say? She
does. I see
it over there. I feel like at my job, I think anybody's job is expecting a lot from them. I think that's just the way things are nowadays. You know, you're supposed to work 40 hours a week, but they're pushing 60 hours. But you have to say no. Like, you have to draw your boundaries. You know, you have to take care of yourself. I don't have a problem with saying no. I don't have a problem asking for help, depending on what it is. If it's something that I want to do and I have a vision and I feel like I'm going to be the only one to carry it out, then I might do it on my own. But if it's like at work, I delegate tasks all day, no problem.
And Gigi is in the 30, you're 31, right? 31, 32?
I'll be 32 in 2 weeks.
32. So I feel like Kalifa's the only one in here under 30. And so she may have to
say that's true.
In a moment. But I feel like.
What do you mean? Hold on now. Wait a minute.
No, Simone. We're just not going
to. Oh, yeah. I'm 27.
We're not even going to pretend. 28. We're not going to even pretend. Yeah. We can't. Okay. No. It's fine. All right.
Okay. So.
I mean, I've worked through like going from a space of letting my boundaries be just taken advantage of to like now, like, no, not doing that, not doing that, not doing that, not doing that.
When you hit 30, I think the 30-year-old's gonna say, my no game got a lot stronger. Like, it got easier for me to say no to stuff when I hit 30. But before then, I felt like I was supposed to take on more stuff, like specifically in church, like because I was single. I
was about to say, when you're under 30 and single, with like no, like they don't see you with a prospect at all. Ooh, they feel like you got all the time in the world.
Your name,
you need to be busy with the Lord's work.
Yes.
Okay.
Your name becomes
what about some rest?
Yes. every meal.
The Sabbath ain't even a rest.
Sabbath's not a rest. Sabbath's not a rest.
No.
So yeah,
They want you to run around.
They want you to run around. So for me, hitting 30, I got more comfortable in my saying no. But I still find that sometimes, even now, like I said, this month, I haven't really felt like a strong Black woman in that sense. Now, when you kind of regroup that, I do feel strong because I have said no and set boundaries or whatever. But I feel like this month I've just taken on more than I can chew sometimes, because with work, being a young career professional and, starting out, and I'm only a couple years into the faculty game where I work, you want to take on more things because you want to look like a team player, look like you collaborate, like you have innovative ideas or whatever. And then additionally, I think everybody is now bored in the pandemic and now has projects they'd like to do. So, I mean, projects they like to do, and everybody's supposed to just have the time because we're in a pandemic. But it's just been like coming at me all this month. So, I feel like I've had to stop and ask for help, or even just set boundaries like, hey, I can't do that. Like, I really want to, but I can't help you.
I think some of that also comes from like how we grew up, like in the Black community, about like how we have to work 10 times harder to get like a fraction of what other races are able to achieve. Absolutely. So I think like as a Black woman, it ends up being not saying that it's harder than like the Black man's experience, but we also go through the weight of just being a woman and already being undervalued. So then to now be Black on top of that, and then like we got to work 10 times harder. You're thinking to yourself, okay, well, if I say no, I might miss out on this opportunity. Like that's what's always said is if you say no in the workplace, you'll miss out on this opportunity. And it's like, but I might die before then. The way
right? Yeah, that's two oppressed identities: being a woman and being a Black person. And so, okay, so for me, this question about asking for help is very complicated because as a wife and a mom, I'm realizing that, so in my home, I am much more likely to push back on those, those gender roles of like, okay, I'm the mom, I'm supposed to make all the meals, I'm supposed to do all the nurturing. No, my husband cooks, he does nurturing. I will sit back here and watch Netflix while he's chasing the child. And I'm good with that because I think that's not right. Like we struggling here together, you know what I mean? So in that respect, my no game or my pullback game is getting better. I still deal with guilt with that. But on the professional side, my no game is not strong. Okay, it's not. I'm a little bit older. Like I could have, I battle with like, oh, I could have gotten my degree earlier, but that wasn't how the cards played out. So so I'm now in a place where when I'm at work, I want to do everything. And if I am given a task, I want to do the task. Don't get in my way.
Get
out of my way.
Oh no. That sounds exhausting. I'm not gonna lie.
It is. And so I have been doing a lot of really cool stuff professionally lately. Doing a lot of interviews and stuff about racial trauma and stuff like that. And I love it. At the same time, I told myself, okay, Simone, you're on vacation. So you're not going to do all these interviews, right? You're not going to do it. Like, yeah, so I'm not going to do it. Then the next one comes like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Not on vacation and you doing the interviews.
Yes,
Simone.
I did. Because professionally, I got to get that CV up because I know when I walk in a room and I'm the only Black psychologist, my CV got to look better.
It's got to look better than most.
Amazing. And so I struggle with that.
Can we talk about that for a minute? And we're all in different professions. When you walk into, none of us are walking into any room.
Not walking nowhere. When you log in.
You walk downstairs to log in. Oh, well, Gigi walks in still.
Yes, Gigi walks in.
Yes. When you walk into rooms, do you notice how many other Black brothers and sisters we have in the profession? Like
immediately.
Absolutely.
Gigi on your floor, or whatever, like how many other of you there are, and does the presence of more Black people make you feel more comfortable versus if there are less Black people, do you feel more tense, like you have to kind of, I guess, put on and be different for work?
Actually, not for me. I work in a private office, and majority of people there are minorities. There's like one white person there. So
okay.
Where I am.
Wow, nice.
Made, I think.
Like Nepali, Indian. So yeah, but I'm like one of 3 African Americans working there, but there's still actually actual Africans that work there too. So we're all minorities. Where I work.
Nice. Y'all know what though, and this is what bothers me, is that we have to deal with being Black and being in all these different spaces, some of them being majority white. And for me, and I don't know how you feel about this, I have noticed competition among other Black women. And I'm like, listen, and that's why I love this space so much, because we need to like be there for each other and lift each other up. But I feel like it's a function of white supremacy in that, like, oh, there's only so many spots at the top. Yeah. And so I got to pull, there's only so many spots for Black people or Black women in the top spots. I got to pull you down so that I can get up. And that is so terrible. And I wonder if y'all have ever experienced that. What'd you say?
I said the crabs in the barrel mentality. And I mean, then there's the aspect of like all skin folk and kinfolk. Like sometimes you realize within that, like the Black person that you thought you could be comfortable around, you're like, oh, you're worse than the other races that I have to deal with in this work environment. Like just working with you is a hostile work environment. I need to like step back now. And so then that looks weird. And then, I mean, there's other places where they want to formulate and really push the whole, like, hey, like what you're saying, like, hey, we only have 2 spots for Black women to be in upper management, and that's it. So they love the crabs in the barrel. They love like you fighting for a position because they think that makes you work harder. That thinks that makes productivity like better. And it's like, what? Why do some of us feed into this?
Right.
That, like, you got to tear me down so that you can be pulled up to this new position. Like, that ain't right. We all in here together. It's literally the same struggle. It's just
right. And it makes us pull away from each other, and you've got that isolation thing that happens. And it's just, we're collectivist people. Like we really need each other. I hate it. And I feel it all the time.
That's why it's better for us to create our own space where we can all be at the top, you know.
Yeah.
And we won't have that crowd girl.
Yeah. We're working for somebody else. You're gonna always have somebody trying to, oh no, we only got 1 spot, or we got half a spot.
And that shouldn't be just 1 spot. It shouldn't. That's how society makes us feel. There's others. That's why I think this fight for social justice is so important, because we have to like open up the spots. Yeah. It shouldn't just be 1 or 2 spots. I mean, I remember working for, I'm just going to say, an insurance company I worked for a long time ago. And they had lots of lower, like people who were entry level, who were people of color. But at the top, they had like 1 person.
Yeah.
And everybody, we all just revered him. And he was great. But I'm like, why is it just him? Where everybody at? Like, what? And he wasn't even top. He was just like lower top. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's like upper middle management type.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's where they put us in. Because even at like my workplace, it's the same thing. Like those who are the assistant directors, none of them are Black. None of them at all. There's lots of Black people where I work. Like we're 50-50 in my office, but none of upper middle management, even like upper management, none of them are Black. And I mean, they do the same workload, if not more sometimes. Like they have more on their plate than our assistant directors that are white, that are Asian, like, and it's wild. It's wild. And they never stop to ask for help, at least not that I know of. Like they really doing that full strong thing.
Because you got to look competent. You can't, if you ask for help like other people do, then can you not do it?
Can you not handle?
And it's like, no.
Me not handle something as a Black?
I know. I got it. I got it.
You be just like the Shaka Khan woman. It's all in me. I can do this.
In me.
In me.
I've been doing this.
I can do this. Yeah. They don't ask for help either. Like I see them, I'm like, man, they got a lot on their plate. They be toiling. When we used to go in the office, some of them wouldn't leave till like 7 p.m. I'm like, you was here till when? No, ma'am. Nope. Nope. I was gonna clock out at 5:30 latest. Y'all should have. Y'all better than me. Would have been giving back stuff to my director. Nope, I can't do that.
I can't do this today.
I can't do it. I gotta go
and
home.
And that we should be able to do that. And I think we were saying earlier, I think we have to rethink. Rethink what we how we conceptualize strong, because I think asking for help and taking things off of our plate is not a weakness. It's strength when we do something different, when we do something that is that's not the norm. Because I grew up with a single mother. I did not see any men doing anything. Like my mom was taking care of everything, and so that's my framework. And so, like that's what she did, and so it's like instilled in me to do that. In fact, unfortunately I saw men like doing what they wasn't supposed to be doing, so that even further was like, oh, I need to like really be up on my game and be the strong person to keep things in line. But all that does is just it's I think collectively it tears us down, and we have to think, okay, what does strong really mean? Like, can I like saying, you know what, I'm gonna put a boundary here. I need help with this, and this. I think that's strength. That's not weakness. I don't know what y'all think.
Well, before we jump in, I want to say, Simone, you mentioned something that I wanted to say too. Just shout out to our moms. Kalifa, your mom is the only one I don't know personally, but I've seen you remark about your mom on social media, so I feel like I know your mother just by way of some of your tweets. But I know Gigi's mom, Simone's mom, and I want to say this strong woman thing, the good part that for my mothers. I think I can honestly say I never saw my mother lacking for anything, and didn't really have my father around, and my mom had 3+ me, and I never saw us without anything. I always say I was raised by 3 strong Black women: my mother, my grandmother, and my great grandmother. My little trinity of people who brought us up. So
they held that down.
Yeah, just going through that, it just made me really think about, like, I've never thought about time when they were weak or when they like didn't just make stuff happen. Like I have no idea the struggles, and I'm pretty sure none of us do have the struggles of what our parents went through to get us to where we are today. And I mean, we're talking about now maybe just as a fraction of some of the stuff that they went through, trying to be young Black women in a professional world with and whatnot, And I'll say, like, it's just, I feel what Simone was saying about, like, I would rather have 3 projects and do them well than to have 10 things going on at once and drop the ball on 5 of them, Right. I feel like it is stronger to say, hey, I'm recognizing that I can't do this. And there's nothing wrong with recognizing where you are lacking somewhere. And I can't carry this ball for you.
Because we're human. We're human people, human beings.
That's important. So, I mean, also extending grace to yourself if you do fail. Yeah. Because that's the next thing. Yeah. A lot of times we don't extend grace to ourselves. And we're just like, oh man, I failed. I'm such a failure. And it's like, no, you was literally holding 10 huge projects in your hand.
I'm really good at that.
Wanting to do it all. Like, just extend some grace to yourself. And when you extend grace to yourself, it's easier to extend grace to others. But that's another topic for another day.
And then also when you set your boundaries, you are strong, because if you take on too much, then you're gonna start having anxiety. You're gonna have heart problems. Heart problems is really big in Black women. And then that's when you become that vulnerable population.
Come through, nurse.
Then it's like
information. You're right.
I've seen patients who have been working like so stressed at work that they literally have checked out, like they can't speak. They've like literally lost their minds because they were so stressed. So like you got to know what your boundaries are now and set them, and don't try to be strong. You gotta. That is strong, actually. Like you said, that's strong. Knowing what your boundaries are and sticking to them.
And like also with that, we have to teach people how to treat us too. We really do have, and if people know, whether it be our partner or our coworkers, if they know that we're going to pick up the ball and take it and get to the finish line, they're not going to do it. Yeah. And that is not an okay precedent to set, because, you know, what is the cost? Like Gigi said, what is the emotional and mental, psychological cost? So yeah.
So as Black women, and I'm glad we have a healthcare provider and a mental health care provider here, like, what are we doing? Kalifa's hilarious.
What did you say?
I said, look at y'all, just driving. We love it. We love to see it every day.
Yeah. What are we? And I
have no question too.
Here at the end of the episode, but you know, for us, I'll say for a while, for Black people, mental health was not like the thing. Like we don't do that. You talk to Jesus. Pray it out.
Keep it in the house.
Keep it inside the house. We don't need people knowing our secrets. There are a lot of myths around mental health and seeking issues. Like, how do you all feel? You don't have to, go into any personal experience of therapy or anything, but how do you all feel about seeking therapy and talking to someone? I personally like to seek Simone to talk to a lot, but she won't take me on as a client.
Wow.
I just, no.
Oh, no, that's not, no.
Can you take me as a client?
No.
Okay.
You guys are fine. You're fine.
Oh?
You guys are good. You're doing great.
Like she has an edge here because she knows me. She already knows the stuff I'm going through. I don't have to do all the breaking ground with a new therapist. I have her.
Right. I mean, and I would say personally, like, it took me a while to find my
I think that's part of why many of us don't go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel comfortable. It took me
I think yeah. You have to shop around, just like you would for a medical doctor. You have to find the right fit. You have to find somebody who is culturally competent and who is, even if they're not Black, you can be a good, therapist to a black or brown person and be a white person, but you have to be aware, you know what I mean? And so I think that a lot of the issues that psychology has with the Black community is because there's just a lot of mistrust. And it's justified. It's totally justified. Our minds and bodies have been, we've been guinea pigged a lot in the medical field, in the helping profession. So, but we should go. And I think that as mental health professionals, it's our job to be creative with how we reach folks. It might not be individual therapy, but that's why we have outreach. That's why we have platforms like, Zoom and doing these kind of talks to get people color to see, like, oh, there's other practitioners that look like me and they're talking about issues that I care about. So we have to be creative and do outreach as well as in-reach to reach the people.
Yeah. Kalifa, were you saying something about level of comfort?
Yeah, like the level, like it took me like 2 years. And I have no problem sharing this because I share this on social media all the time. So I've been in therapy consistently now for the past year, but off and on since about 2017-ish. And it took me a while to really find, and I've only gone to Black therapists, mind you. So Black female therapists at that. Like I was very adamant about, I want a Black female therapist. But it took me a while to get to the therapist that I have now, where it's just like I've gone through like 3 therapists in Louisville. And don't get me wrong, like they were great, but it still wasn't that fit that I needed. Like they helped me through what they needed to, which was phenomenal. And I mean, I'm so happy that like, I'm not sure how everyone's jobs are, but I know there are certain jobs that allow for you to do like 6 free sessions or maybe 4. Some jobs are great and they do 8, or some jobs are even phenomenal. They do 10, I've heard. Like they have an allotment of sessions that you can do. So I did that, tried those out, and that was great. And then moving to Atlanta, I was like, okay, now that I'm back home, let me really focus and try to find someone that I can really fit with. And it just so happened that I found her. She believed in Jesus too, which works out for me because look, the other person was like, oh, okay, so you go to church, and they just leave it at that. I'm like, there's so much to that that I need to discuss.
Right.
It really is. But this one, she's like, okay, well, how are you compromising your faith when you make these decisions? And I'm like, oh, girl, don't come for me. Hold on, sis.
And see, that's what we need to hear. We need to.
But I'm
It's a very secular field. It's a secular field, and we don't see that. So thank you for yes.
She was like, how are you compromising? And then like now, so like with me and like even like dating and everything like that, she'll ask, she's like, hey, so like what, like, are you doing anything that's like going across like a spiritual boundary for you? And I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, let's talk about it, girl. Sure.
Okay.
All right, you're just coming for my jugular every session. I mean,
Thank you.
It's really phenomenal to have someone to kind of like de-stress and debunk through all of this stuff that gets it. And she understands like it can be tough to be a Black Christian woman in America. Like she understands what that weight is. And then the weight of even like just the pandemic itself, that additional stress that has been put on where it's like, now it's only us being Black in America, we in a pandemic at the same time. So I think if we as a Black community had more access to these things, because everyone else, it seems like, had access to this for a very long time, and they had specific therapists that met their needs and treatment centers and everything else. I feel like if we had the access to it, we have a little bit more access now, but even still financially, some people can't see therapists at all, which is really, really sad. And I know that there's people that are longing to have that person to talk through these issues with and go through and, you know, process their trauma and everything else. And there's no way they can do so because it costs $125 a session, which is fine because the therapists do need to get paid. Okay.
We do. We gotta get paid. We do. And
they all need to be compensated.
That sliding scale is real. We got practical students out here. You know what I'm saying? There's ways. Yeah.
She was gonna charge you $200 too. She was gonna charge you $200.
That help?
Huh?
I can pay.
Sorry. Oh.
She said still no. She said still no.
That is an ethical boundary. Okay, it's an ethical boundary. I know too much. I just know too much.
It would make it so easy, that transition. It
would, and no. I've tried. I've been trying to therapize Tiffany for years, okay?
Oh.
And she didn't want it then.
Wow.
The way I want to be therapized, okay?
The truth comes out.
Right. But there's in addition to the financial barriers, there's also still a lot of stigma, you know, and just shame around that. People not understanding what it is. How is a stranger going to, I don't want no stranger to tell me about my life. And it's like, well, that's not what it is. And if they do that, please go find someone else because that's not supposed to happen.
Right. Or they call you crazy. They're
so,
like, ooh, are you crazy?
You had written something in. Yeah. No, that's not helpful. Mm-hmm. Tiff, you had written something in the notes, and I wondered if it had to do with the strong Black woman myth. About, I know Taraji has been doing a lot of work within mental health, and she's been kind of trying to spearhead some stuff. And she said she wanted to get away from being called magic. I don't really know about that. What did she say?
That she felt like the term Black girl magic, that it kind of mythicizes us, like makes us like we're not real creatures, like people think we're magical, and she wanted to kind of get away from that. I didn't know. I mean, I use the term Black girl magic because I think a lot of it is magic. I think we do a lot of stuff that some people either think you can't do or we make it happen. Again, I think it does tie into that strong Black woman because sometimes we just find a way to make something pass or come to fruition. But I also don't want people to think it makes me like a mythical creature, like I'm not a real person.
Yeah, no, I get that. We're very real.
I went to appear. I want to manifest.
We're very real people.
I get where she's coming from though, because we are mortal beings and we can't do everything. I like the term Black girl magic, but I do think context is important, you know? So I get where she's going. I think all in all, we have to treat ourselves better so that we can teach other people how to treat us, because sometimes we be getting put through the ringer. Some have said that we are the most unprotected or disrespected folks, Black women.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I tend to agree with that. I don't know what do y'all think? It's a lot of
1,000%.
problematic folks out there.
Like overall, or just like in our society?
I've seen it used by folks protesting. Like they're just saying they want to protect the Black woman, and that Black women are the most disrespected, unprotected people in our culture today. Do you all feel like that's necessarily true, or?
I do. I really do. I mean, when you have, I feel like as a Black woman married to a Black man, that, and I've always felt very passionate and very strong for Black men and wanting to support them, but they have many times, some of them have gone out of their way to not reciprocate the love and respect. And I just, it bothers me. I think there was a comment somebody made about Jill Scott just out of nowhere. Somebody said she was not attractive or wasn't sexy. Like, why? What are you talking about? What'd she do to you?
Yeah.
Nothing. But be Black and fine and make great music.
Right. Or Gabrielle Union and Terry Crews, when she didn't even ask him to trash the job. She was like, I didn't experience it. Can you just say I validate her?
Terry.
It's with me.
Yeah.
Terry is
we need
interesting fella.
That goes into what Kalifa said earlier, like all skin folk ain't kin folk.
Ain't kin folk.
You just living this with me, you know, like just
I thought we was
validate. I mean, we're here together.
We are both Black.
What causes that though? Like why? What makes them not want to side with us? Like, do they think we're lying when we voice our concerns?
I think some of them do think that like we're making this up. Like Black women are angry. Like there's no validation to what Black women are experiencing. Like it's this whole. I mean, and Black men love saying that. Like they some of them. Let me not generalize and say all. Some of them like calling us out our names when we decide to act the same level of aggressive that they do when it comes to career opportunities or even life in general. Now we're seen as something else that's not our name. And they're seen as like, you know, the boss man that's like leveling up. Like, so when they hear about, hey, like I had an experience with your homeboy, your homie that you done grown up with for however many years, they're like, nah, man, I don't see him doing that. Right. You don't see him doing that, yet he did it. So I like as a Black woman, there's no reason why we would make up the experiences that we have. Like, especially a bad experience. No one wants to have to go through some of this stuff. So some of them like to invalidate because they want to protect their homeboy. They're like, nah, this didn't happen. Couldn't be. No, you don't do that.
Yeah. I've been in a situation where I have complained about an experience to a few select people. And it wasn't until a man said something in the same experience that it has been validated. It was like, oh, this must be happening. I'm feeling this.
It must be happening.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Just oversensitive or
This
something?
whole time, I've been saying this, and now.
Now it's a thing. So
for me, it's that internalized racism and sexism. Yeah. You know, Black men, y'all are, especially now with all this going on, like an oppressed identity. Why would you? And so again, I just think that sometimes, you know, society tells, you know, portrays a certain view of Black women, whether that it be that we're mean or that we're over sexualized or that we emasculate Black men, our attitudes are just too much. You know, all these different stereotypes, and I think that unfortunately. Sometimes men, they go along with it and believe it. And then being women, I think women oftentimes are not believed. You're just being emotional, or you're just, you know, you're on your period or something. And so it's very hurtful when I see it. It's very hurtful, and it makes me angry because I know for me, my tendency is to want to stand with. Even if I mean, you got to do something really egregious for me to say something publicly against you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a celebrity, but like in a circle, especially when white people are around, you know, you got to do a lot for me to, because I'm just gonna be like, well, you know, we don't really know the circumstance. You know, I'm gonna just gotta, you know, hold the line.
We don't really know, but you know, I'm gonna believe her.
Hey, we don't know the whole story, you know. So yeah, it's very hurtful. And I think we do it to ourselves too as women. Like when I think about colorism among Black women, and you know, I grew up in a family where I'm brown skin, but y'all know my mom. My grandmother, like they're all lighter than me. Their hair looked different than mine, and so I always, you know, I felt like I was judged more harshly to ourselves as well.
That's true.
Yeah. So to your question, Gigi, I wish I knew why that folks act that way, or why that perception is out there. But I do feel like for y'all correct me if I'm wrong or tell me if y'all seen other things. I do feel like for a group of for women, Black women particularly, who seem so unprotected in the world out here, we are the ones driving the movement, it seems, these days.
All the time.
Yeah. Out here leading the charge, organizing. I'm not gonna say there are no men out there doing that, so I don't want any. Please, these Corona times, male viewers, don't feel like
didn't nobody say.
They'll be down in the comments, ready for you to.
Don't cancel me, please. Well, I'm not saying men don't and aren't organizing, because I've seen some that are doing the thing and definitely appreciate that. But I'm just in this context where, you know, women are sometimes not protected. Not as represented. They are really, at least in the city of Louisville, for the most part, I know it is women who are leading the charge in a way that, you know, salute to them. I said on our episode last week, we talked about racism and the perception of protesters being lazy. Let me tell you something. Protesting is not laziness. It takes some things or like, as Rodney said last week, if you could get 1,000 people to show up somewhere, you know, that takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. So I don't want anybody to watch this and think that protesting is lazy or that people don't have you know, better to do. But the thing is, this is the better thing right now, because right now our lives don't matter. Black women's lives probably the less don't matter. So
from the bottom,
it was that way.
Yeah.
So this is not like we're all just sitting around kicking rocks and protesting, you know, because we're bored. There's really something going on.
Or waiting for men to tell us what to do, because, you know, within the protest and movement, because that's also like, even with the civil rights movement, there were so many women, we don't know their names, like the Fannie Lou Hamers and, you know, the Ella Bakers and Angela Davises. And we know Angela Davis, you know, but that there were so many women who were at the helm back in the day, fighting for voting rights, and it, you know, and I, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. and all of, you know, he just passed away. John Lewis, yes, very important people, of course, and there were women right alongside, and so that sexism was alive and well even back then, and we continue to deal with it, and I think we have to keep calling it out, and we have to keep letting our voices be heard, because we keep getting overlooked.
Simone, do you mind if I shift of something we were talking about today in the polo?
I'm scared.
I am too.
I'm like, what was y'all talking about in the polo? Let me hear.
So my question is, are we setting ourselves back? And let me give you the context for that question. Are we kind of getting in our own way? Have y'all seen the new Cardi B?
I already knew. I said, when she said set ourselves back, I said, she is talking about that worship and praise that ain't worship and praise. I know it immediately when you said, are we setting ourselves? I said, it's that worship and praise video that just dropped.
Ooh.
I love to hear your thoughts.
About this. I have very mixed feelings about this because you guys know, you all have experienced me in person. So y'all know I'm out there. Not like, I don't know how y'all viewers gonna take it, but whatever. Just, y'all know how I am. I'm very forthcoming and straightforward. Like, I don't mind sharing who I am 100% with individuals that I'm around. So I understand this whole, movement of like, let's be sexually liberated and, let us be open with what we want, where we want, how we want. And then there's a part of me that's like, ooh, that don't look classy. And I know somebody gonna come in your comments and be like, see, she's trying to come and say, well, we can't be classy if we sexually liberated. No, I'm just saying that there's a time and place to talk about certain things. And you're out here talking about this all the time. Anyone who will listen, and that can be a bit much. Like, you just met me. I don't want to hear about anything about what you have in your Birkin bag, so to speak. Okay? I don't want to know the value of it. I'm okay. Like, we all got Birkin bags. No, thank you. I don't want to know the value of yours. I'm good. And at the same time, like, if it's just us, like, in like a girls' night atmosphere, cool, talk with your girls about that, about how this, that, and the fourth, how you doing what you doing. Social media wise, who?
Even you should have limits on that too. I mean, I don't want to know everything.
Yeah, right. Like, your girl shouldn't know all your I don't want to know all the details, please. But still, like, social media, I'll see a lot of things where it's like, whoo, this is cool to retweet, but y'all, it'll never be me. I'm out here telling y'all about y'all are real specific. So I don't know if it's setting us back per se, because for a lot of women, they finally feel like they can express themselves. So it feels like in the woman movement itself, like we're progressing forward, so to speak, because we're not repressed anymore. And then in the grand scheme of things, it's like, oh, but girl, now I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm not saying we're doing things for the approval of men. I'm never saying that. It just looked real bad, sis. Yeah. I don't know how else to say it. It just looks really bad.
I love it. Yes.
Like, yes. We're not doing things for the approval of men. We know that. We agree to that. It just looks like now when he comes at you this way, I can't say like he's completely 1,000% unwarranted on like, okay, he put emoji eyes under your pic. You feel some type of way that, oh, he coming after me just for that. But sis, the post is your booty out. So help me. That's why I can't even get mad. Y'all know sometimes I post a little cleavage pic here and there.
Yeah.
Nice, no. So I cannot get upset in any way, shape, or form when a man come at me a little like, hello, my sister, would you like Bible study? I don't expect that comment underneath that pic. Like, if it's a Bible study comment, like, ooh, my sister, I'd like to take you to Wednesday night prayer meeting. And I obviously am posting something about how my body looks. Hats off to him for doing that and looking beyond. But it don't fit the criteria of what's happening.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't want to say it's setting us back. And I also don't want to say like, oh, like this is completely fine. Like we're all comfortable. No, because I'll be looking at stuff like, whoo, child.
Where should the line be drawn? If a line should be drawn.
I don't know. I mean, go ahead, Tiff.
I was going to say, because I was thinking about, when I watched it today, I didn't really give it the full look because there were some things that jumped out, and I was like, oh, shit. So I didn't give it the full look, but I listened to the song. But I was thinking,
explicit, child, I could barely get through that.
Yeah, it was pretty explicit. This is not the worst video I've ever seen. I was talking about like the Moulin Rouge video or Lady Marmalade video.
Tip drill worse than that.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm just saying, I think because you have to put it in the context of the time it was in. So I think, for us, like Lady Marmalade or maybe even like Britney Spears' Slave for You video, if you look that time that it came out, it was one of the most explicit things during that time.
Yeah, it was real provocative.
That big old snake. I was like, ooh, Brittany, be careful.
I don't do snakes. I don't know exactly about it.
She got a lot on her too. Just
a lot.
let's not do it. Let's not do it. But so to me, that's not like the worst thing I've seen, like in the time frame of videos for their time or whatever. But the content of the song itself was just like, But
it was a lot.
Where do you draw a line? Because I'm not gonna say that Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B are the only people like doing stuff like this, because
no, because my culture's music is worse.
Yeah, I mean,
what music?
I said my culture's music. So like I'm Caribbean descent, and like dance hall and soca, it's literally 10 times what that song is. But like it's, I guess because it's kind of disguised a little bit. You got a little beat, so you don't really hear it. But like you can hear everything clear what Cardi and Megan was saying. Like,
yeah.
I'm thinking about music, and I was having this conversation with my husband earlier. Is that for me? I think the innuendo used to be a little higher. I'm thinking about like when we were teenagers, or Kalifa, when you was a baby.
Yes. When I first came to the movie.
I've been singing songs like Bluefield songs, or Joe songs, or whatever, and we know
what is bump and grind?
Yeah, what is that?
Did someone bump up against something? Did something fall?
This is down south. Are we going down south?
Hey.
Are we going to the subway? The subway.
I didn't think Pony was about riding a horse.
Like it wasn't so direct, and I guess that's what now. Like I feel like an old person. I'm like, ooh, that's too much. And these songs are
right.
I feel like an old.
Yes.
So for me, I don't think it sets us back. Let me first say, I watched the whole video. Me and my husband watched it together, I think yesterday. I thought it was beautiful. Like, I love the colors. I was like, oh, this is pretty. I don't think it set us back, because I think that we are such a vast and broad people, right? Like, we got room for the Cardi B's. We can have the Beyoncés. We can have well, she's an entertainer, but like the Michelle Obamas. Like, there's room for all of us. And so I'm good with it. However, I think that, like you talked about Britney Spears doesn't have the same stereotypes and the same garbage on her back that Black women do. And so I think when people, over-sexualize our bodies, and when they, I don't know, when they have this idea about us and how they can treat us, I think that when you look at the Cardi, sometimes people might think, oh, well, that's what they like, And I know Cardi B's not Black. I know that, but she's a woman of color. And there were other Black women of color in, not Kylie at all. Now, I'm confused about what Kylie was doing, but, so I think that there's just that double standard there between Black and white women. Yeah, we are more liberated now, but we know, like, the feminist movement, there's a lot of women of color's issues that are not addressed in that movement, So I just think that I don't know. I think it's like she can do what she can do. Women can do what they want with their bodies, and there is a cost to that. There's a certain perception, and that doesn't mean, because for me, I'm like, okay, how do we balance this? How do we support women, who are more sexually, more sex positive, and body positive? How do we do that? But then also, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, how do we support that, but then also let it be known that we are we need to be respected. Like, we are not just sexual beings. Because we are mothers and wives and professionals, and we're all the things. Right. We're all the things. So
that ends up happening quite a bit, where like we're so sexualized that now people think that's the only facet to us. And I think that's that's always my concern, is like, oh my gosh, like, I get it. Y'all want to talk about whatever. It's your social media. Like, by all means, I'm not going to police you for what you're putting out there. I just always think, okay, well, this is also the same person who has, in the same take, complained about, like, hey, I'm not being respected. And it's like, all right, well, it's a little bit twofold. Like, how can you put this out and be respected, as well as the person who's seeing it and receiving it? How can they respect you still, regardless of what you're putting out? Like, not saying like, oh, well, you only putting out that your booty, whatever, your body and all that stuff. So I don't need to treat you for what I'm seeing and not for anything else. Like, how do we allow people to say, like, all right, Yeah, like she could dance like Cardi B and Megan and do all that and still treat her with the same respect you would as if you see a Michelle Obama somewhere. You know, like it's not like Michelle Obama probably don't listen to worship and praise.
Right.
She probably did listen to worship and praise.
She probably does. Yeah.
I mean, you know what?
And she is also like a woman like her. She's also sexy. No, she don't have on the snakeskin boots or nothing. But
tell you something.
But
glitter boots she had on.
I know. I remember that. But they're all like, it's whether you're covered up and you look good, that's sexy too, as well as the little. I don't even know the jumpsuits or whatever. I don't know. I don't have no clothes like that.
I don't own what they
I don't own any.
Any of those things.
But it's all good. It's all good. So.
But men or people should be able to respect us no matter at what range or what part of the spectrum we're on, whether we're the first lady of the United States or if we, on the stripper pole. Y'all, like, they should be able to, like, okay, she's that kind of woman, I'm gonna treat her this way. And not like, oh, well, I saw her do this, so I'm gonna treat her that. It doesn't work. Right. You should treat everybody respectfully. Because somebody's wearing revealing clothes, they're not saying treat me disrespectfully, touch me when I'm not when I didn't ask you to. So I mean, it's not really. I mean, I guess it's our part is how we carry ourselves, but also it's their part to just respect all women across the board.
You're right. That's the work, is people checking their biases and checking their biases. What have you learned about Black women or women in general and sexuality? I know back in the day we were not supposed to be we were supposed to be, pure and demure. We didn't want sex, and we're supposed to only be pursued. We're supposed to no, I don't, and that's not true. That's ridiculous. And so now we are, the opposite. And there's a bit, maybe some might call an overcorrection, but I think the issue is like just a little for some, but the work is checking your own biases and figuring out like, okay, how do I need to treat women as opposed to what do women need to do? How do we need to contort ourselves in a way to keep people from looking at us? Or that's not our job. Just like racism, like it's not our job. It's white people got to stop being racist. It's not for us to fix that. We have our part. There's things we can do. We can have conversations and all that. But for the most part, I think it's those who have the power and the privilege. They need to fix themselves and work on themselves.
Right. I agree.
So, in an effort to not keep you all long, it's been a great conversation, and I am.
I know.
Oh, snap!
I mean, we've been having such a good time. It's been nice seeing you all. We're kind of moving toward the end. I'm trying to do my preacher wrap up. We're not going to hold you long. We're moving toward the appeal.
So we were talking about, we mentioned racism a lot throughout the episode, and so something I've been getting a lot is a lot of white people who are allies to the movement, for racial justice. And that's been wonderful to see. A lot of protests is very, I look on TV and it's very diverse. And at the same time, I think that it's been difficult to connect sometimes with white people. So a lot of them are feeling a lot of guilt. And I've been getting a lot of, I'm sorry on behalf of all white people. I'm not talking to my daddy no more because he's racist. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And as I become more in tune with my Black identity, it's been tough for me to connect with white people, to be completely honest, and especially as somebody who talks about racism a lot. It's been tough, and I really don't know what to do with some of the weight that they place. And I wonder if any of you all have experienced any of this and how you've dealt with it. Kalifa, you shaking your head.
I don't mess with them. I really do not. And let me tell you how deeply rooted this I don't mess with them is. It's really my parents' fault. Let's start there. Because honestly, there were only 2 white writers in my home, even growing up, Dr. Seuss and Ellen G. White. And everything else was real Black. We were the James Baldwins, Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison type of family. Like, those were the books we had. So, like, for me, I went to all black schools growing up. I saw black male teachers, black female teachers. I saw black professionals. So I connected with that so deeply. It was so rooted, even in my like church experience, so rooted in all black, fully Caribbean church experience as well. So if I didn't have to be around white people, I wasn't. And even though I went to a predominantly white institution, as they would call it, I feel like it's a little more mixed, but that's neither here nor there. Still, if I didn't have to be around the white folk, I wasn't. I try to just be like, okay, y'all have y'all thing, y'all stay in y'all lane. Because for me, I've reached a point where it's like, I'm not going to keep trying to teach you and see if I can get, like, you can get some understanding. And no, Google is
not my job.
There.
Okay.
It is free to the public.
RobinDiangelo.com. Tim Wise.
All right.
Who else? Sue and Sue. Okay.
There's so many resources. So like if you really want to know, yes, there's times that you can ask for certain clarification for things, but if you're like, teach me, like, how do I not be racist?
I ain't got time for that.
What are we doing? Like, and I've heard of like certain like organizations and like workplaces having these conversations where it's like, teach, like, we want the black people to come on and teach, like, how do we not be racist? And it's like, well, this is an all white leadership. So I don't know. Maybe let's start there. Let's start with
the labor, the emotional labor that it takes to converse with you all about this, especially the ones who don't get it. That is a lot emotionally, and to me, that's racist. For you to think that I'm supposed to do your work, I can't do that. And I think, I really wish and want white people to kind of, when they're checking in and when they're apologizing, to be a little bit more considerate about why you're doing that. Because I can't carry your guilt. I can't do the work for you.
No. They're not freely giving us financial advice, information to let us level up that way. So I'm not freely giving you how to be anti-racist. That's no. Yeah. Let's make a fair trade. If you want to help you level up that way,
barter.
Go ahead and give me the full rundown on why all of y'all knew about 401ks and Roth IRAs, and our community had no idea till about maybe a smooth 5 years ago. Like, give us the rundown. Like, go ahead. How you have all this money? What's all this investment you got going on? But y'all not really giving that information either. So
spread that generational wealth that we were kept from, that we could not attain. Not because we couldn't, because you want to hoard your privilege and your power.
Or is the checking in stopped? Anybody else has the checking in? Has the checking in ended, like from our white allies? Like, I felt like right after George Floyd, I had a lot of people asking, like, how are you doing? How's it going? How are you feeling? I've been lucky, and I've said before in other shows, I've been fortunate to have some wonderful white allies and wonderful white coworkers that have been less about, can you teach me how to not be racist, and more about, I'm sorry for going through this, what can I do to help? And even then, I don't really have an answer for what can I do to help. I just appreciate the check-in. But I do think stuff, for me as a Black woman, stuff is still going on, because there's still no justice for Breonna Taylor.
Ooh, child.
Yeah.
Since then, we've had another man in Atlanta at the Wendy's. We have
remember that
Elijah McClain that has come out, and even though that happened a while ago, it has just now been released and shown to people about what happened to him. There are just other situations that have occurred. You have in our city, David McAtee, that situation where he was shot by a National Guardsman, and that still hasn't been resolved. You have our stuff with our mayor of Louisville gentrifying the west end of Louisville, so there's still stuff happening for me as a Black woman, but I don't really feel like so many of the white allies are reaching out still. Like,
no, they definitely stopped. They took a break. Just like right after that black picture that they posted, that all black picture that they posted on social media, they said, all right. Right, I've done my due diligence.
Yeah. And the thing for me is, some of them, they want us to tell them that they're good white people and that they're not racist. And so for me, a lot of the reach outs, not all of them, but some of these reach outs, that is really for them, not for us. And we're in a space of trying to caretake. And I'm just, you know, I think it's important to put that back on them and to ask them, you know, I'm not really sure what you were, you know, going for here, but I can't carry that for you. And I will say, I will teach, but you're going to pay me. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Pay me.
That time is valuable.
No, seriously, because historically we do labor and we don't get paid for it. We do work emotional and we don't get paid for it. So as a mental health professional, sure, I'll come and I'll talk to folks about what it is to be racist and whiteness. But you're gonna have to pay me.
Oh yeah.
And so if it's gonna be a long training, let me get a price together.
Let me invoice y'all.
Right, because it's work. It really is work, and it's no small request. Yeah. And I think they need to know that.
It's true.
So,
I don't know. I need, you know, we mentioned also last week on the show, we're talking again about the protests continuing and how we appreciate the white allies. I almost feel like, oh, my people. This might not be going on so long if we didn't have as many white allies protesting with us. Because I do feel like we tend to, you know, we're together too long. Sometimes things break out. We don't agree. We separate. We branch off. You know, I also feel like we're in a good time. Not that COVID is a good time for anything, but because of COVID, we have more free time than we normally would. But I wonder if some of this, because you know they're protesting hard in Oregon, in Portland.
Child, rain or shine.
How many black folks is in Portland? So
I don't know. 5? Right. What is it? I don't know. I don't know.
Have one friend that's from Portland, and I think she's one of the 5.
Yeah, it's not. So you know, I want to say, you know, while we're talking about this, you know, there are some white allies who are committed just as much, maybe somewhat more, if some black people are, dare I say, just by, you know, joining in this fight with us as black folks and continuing to march and protest and things of that nature. So, you know, definitely appreciate, but I can definitely say also that I do feel like the whole desire to check in with your black friend is dwindling, diminishing.
If we don't have a strong relationship already, it's okay. Like, don't. I had an old professor. There was a black man had been murdered. I didn't know who he was. I had not heard the story, but I got a random email. I am so sorry, Simone, to hear about such and such. And I was like, I did not respond. I did not respond. I was like, I haven't talked to you in so long. Did you just like pick a name? Like, let me just close my eyes. Ooh, I'm going to contact Simone. You had all your black people on a Rolodex. You know, like, just be mindful. Just be mindful. That's all. That's all. Yeah.
That's another thing we got to teach them to do, too.
I don't think so.
It's a lie. And the next stimulus check ain't in our hand or nothing, okay? Like, just.
Now, I will say, I think, is it Asheville, North Carolina? They passed something about doing reparations or something. I think I'm already in North Carolina. Let me go over to Nashville. What they talking about?
But didn't they say they were going to use those reparations to like invest them in black neighborhoods and entrepreneurs and education and stuff like that?
Yes, but I have so many questions about that as well. Because I never trust the system. It's like, okay, you say you're going to do this. What you really going to do?
I can't do what I want with reparations.
Just give me a check. So I can do, because I got stuff to do.
You're telling me I gotta start my own business?
I don't know what they're gonna do. It was a nice thought, and I'm interested to see what they do with that. But I think, you know, again, I appreciate this conversation and having you all with us. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brandon, we miss you a little bit. Just a little bit. But Tip, did you wanna shift to the humble brags?
Yes, so in this vein of Black women are magic in a good way, not mythical creatures that don't randomly appear, and that we are strong and are powerful and that we do good things. I wanted you guys to just take a minute and maybe brag on something that you're doing right now, or something that you've accomplished during COVID, that you didn't think you would or that you could, and maybe me and Simone can start to give you guys a chance to think about it. Mine is just as we were talking about work and representation in your space. I worked at the same place for, it'll be 16 years this August that I've been with the institution that I'm with. And for at least a good part of my time at the institution, there have been no people of color in upper management, is what I wanted to say. No people of color in administration in my building, at least specifically in my department. And, within the last 3 years, not only have I become one of a very small number of African-American faculty members in my institution, but I can now say that I am one administrator of color in my building. So I think that is like something I'm super proud of because, if you all follow me on social media, you've seen my testimonies about my job and, the Lord did it because Simone has probably known me the longest here. I've never said I want to be a librarian in any way, shape, or form. Librarians attacked me. It came from me. So I think that for me, that's like one accomplishment that I'm super proud of, is to say that I, at 36, I'm holding that type of position at a prominent institution. And the other thing I would say is that, like, something I've done during COVID is these Corona times.
Look.
We brag on this space a lot as a good place to come and talk and share. And, even if 5 people watch it, I feel like that's still an accomplishment for us because we're not big names. We're not really important. But this is just something that we've been able to document our experiences during this time. And hopefully 10 years from now, 20 years from now, people are talking about COVID-19. If people made it or not, they'll be able to look back on this and hear what was happening during this time and look at these conversations. So that's my little humble brag.
For sure. I think I said I've been doing a lot of different interviews and stuff about people wanting to talk about race-based stress and trauma, and I always mention these Corona times. And I also put it on my CV because I think that this is a form of activism. Activism looks different. Everybody can't be on the front lines. Everybody can't be the Chanel Helms of the world, and she's amazing. And I know for me, this is my platform. This is one of the things I can do. And so I'm really proud of this, that we've been able to do this and we stuck with it. I'm also really happy about, I think I shared with you all, tomorrow's my first day as a postdoc fellow as a psychologist at UNC Charlotte. And I'm going to be preparing for my licensure stuff this year and also trying to continue managing my family and just continue to grow professionally. I really feel like, and now that I'm finally done with my doctorate, that the sky's the limit. I just look forward to using all of the skills and abilities that God has given me to help people. Yeah, and I hope to do more speaking engagements and to be a mentor to other young Black and brown women, therapists, psychologists of color coming up behind me. And I'm just very, very blessed.
Awesome.
Whichever you all want to go.
Looking at you, Gigi.
Whichever one.
Gigi's good.
But I will say that during this time I've been working, I've not had the most pleasant job, and I've kind of felt like I didn't know what my future held for me. But I have been exposing myself more to nurse practitioner entrepreneurs. And so it's really inspiring. I feel like entrepreneurship may be in my future, like maybe in the next couple of years later on. I can't really practice by myself just yet due to Kentucky laws, but so I'm glad that I have some sense of direction right now, and there's hope. So that's a type of accomplishment for me.
Yeah.
So for me, I have actually been a lot better at documenting my cooking. You guys know that I'm very passionate about making meals. So I started my IG page, which is Cooking with Kali on Instagram. And then
I didn't know that.
Yes, cooking with a K. So it's KOOKING with Kali, KALI, on Instagram. And then I have started doing catering orders. I bought my domain name last week. I filed for my LLC, not only for this business, but I'm actually going to do something with public health as well. I need to put my degree to a lot more use than I have been. So I'm working on that with another colleague and friend who I actually met at U of L. So her and I are working on that. And once I get the green light to start promoting that a lot more, I will. But that's something that I've been working on in addition to just regular work life and having the 40-hour work week. It's something that definitely brings me peace. I am happy to actually be putting myself out there. I thought I was like, I can just do it via like my page. And I'm like, no, this is getting a little bit bigger than just, me cooking at church potlucks. Like now I'm actually getting paid to cook. People are paying me for recipes. And it actually, I was selling myself short. So I'm happy that I put myself out there, that I'm knowing my worth, at least right now. People are like, they still think that I'm charging too small. I think I'm charging reasonable, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm happy that it's finally out there. And I'm going to get back consistently posting and everything. But that's been something that has brought me great joy. Is being able to share cooking with everyone on a platform that's just dedicated just to that.
Can these meals be sent out of the state?
I am working on that, honestly,
because
legitimately.
I'm hungry.
Looking on if I can make sure that it can get to you next day, because dry ice only gonna last for so long. I am working on literally becoming a mini Stouffer's. So just go ahead and freezing it, sending out with instructions, and sending it out.
I'll meet you halfway.
Right, you ain't far. That's true.
I'm not far. Come on now.
That's accurate. Now, Simone, you and I may have, hold on.
Conversation.
We may have to have a discussion.
Yeah. And Kalifa can cook, y'all. We've had her food.
Right. I make all dishes, vegan, vegetarian, whole lot of meat dishes because I eat meat, child. Amen. Praise the Lord for that chicken.
Yes. Yes.
Bless him for that chicken.
Bless the chicken.
He didn't have to do it, but he did.
He didn't have to do it, but he did.
Praise him for that salmon too. I know Gigi's a pescatarian. Praise him for that fish. Hallelujah. He didn't have to do that either.
I thought about you, Gigi. Me and Sean, we got the cedar plank salmon from Old Charlie's, and I thought of you.
It's really good.
I know. I don't know why. I think one time we went there together, and you got that, and so it just stuck in my head. Gigi, cedar plank salmon.
Whenever I do have a fish dish, I do feel like Gigi would like this.
Gigi would eat this.
She would. That's true.
So you guys,
as you all can see, we have a lot of fun together. And, I know I just saw Simone last week, but I haven't seen Kalifa in, oh my gosh, since Friendsgiving.
Look, I was supposed to be there this summer, low key. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was supposed to surprise y'all this summer, and I was supposed to surprise y'all again in November. But both of those things are now done. So
COVID.
Yeah, that I was saying, haven't seen Kalifa since Friendsgiving in November. Haven't seen Gigi since our social distance walk in the park. What was that, like around April, early May? So it is, wonderful getting together. And I just want to say I am proud of my friends.
Yes.
These girls are with me at my bachelorette party. We've been together for going away parties. We've been together for, church events, church functions.
I'm not going to do too much. Just not that episode.
I was just, letting the people know that
we spent time together.
Yes. Amen.
So Simone, care?
What'd you say?
You want to do our self-care?
Yes. So we always, end with self-care, what we're going to do to take care of ourselves and ground ourselves. Kalifa, you got anything in mind that you want to do? Make a point to do?
I am actually probably going to take myself for a pedicure. Not that my nails look raggedy, but they could be a lot more pristine. So I'm going to take myself for a pedicure, and honestly, I'm going to probably work a couple extra hours Monday through Thursday so that I can clock out early on Friday.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Gigi?
I actually have a 60-minute therapeutic full body massage scheduled for the 16th.
Okay.
I will be.
She said the minutes and the therapeutic.
At 5 o'clock, I will be there.
At 5 o'clock. Not a minute after.
For me, what am I gonna do? I don't even know because work starts tomorrow. I'm gonna try to really get off at 5 o'clock. I'm gonna work as I told y'all. I'll be working, and so I'm gonna get off at 5 all this week and just spend time with my family. We're gonna try to. I know I'm not on vacation anymore, but being at home, we have a little bit more flexibility. So I'm gonna just try to put boundaries up with my work.
And for me, I am not going to add another thing to my plate this week. I will not. If anything is offered, I'm going to be strong and I'm going to say no. No, I can't.
Yes, thank you.
Like, Tiff, say no to that project in your inbox right now. I'm just randomly telling you that. Say no to
Just delete it. Just delete it. Don't even read the email.
Don't even read it. Just delete it. Well, Simone.
Don't read it. Delete it. That's a bumper sticker.
I told y'all
I missed out on some important information in there.
Yeah.
I should coin that. Don't read it, delete it. That could sell.
Right.
I
Go
buy
and
it.
put it on a t-shirt, Simone.
You heard it here first. Okay?
Don't read it, delete it.
Read it, delete it. That's with everything in life. Your text messages, your emails, delete the whole thing. Okay.
So to our audience, to anybody who's still watching, because we've been on for we want to thank y'all for sticking with the conversation. It's been fun, it's educational, it's promising.
Yes.
It's been enlightening, and again, just proud of these beautiful Black women that are on the panel with me today. Thank you all so much for your time. And until we come back again, stay safe in these Corona times. Wash your hands.
Wear your mask.
Yes, wear your mask.
Stay away from folks. Stay back.
Yep, and
you can't be coughing and sneezing in these stores. Hold it in.
Yep. Don't delete it in these Corona times. Make sure you do
yes.
And until next time, we remain yours.
We remain yours.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.